So it's been 4 years since the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 were released. And like every year, I'm here to just do a video about what system I personally think that you guys should get your hands on and personally pick up and buy, especially right now while all these deals are going on. Now, unlike every other year, I'm gonna mix things up a little bit. This year has been so different with PlayStation and Xbox that we're not gonna be comparing which game looks better on which system because it's really close across the board, even with the PlayStation 5 Pro. Pretty much we're gonna talk about the politics behind the systems, the companies, which actually affects your gaming experience. So before we get into that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Like, comment, all that stuff. And then as always, if you have social media, follow me on any of those socials down below. There's gonna be a lot more content getting pushed to those, so make sure that you guys follow if you haven't. Okay, so like I said, it's been 4 years since these consoles have been out, and like every other year, I give my opinion on what's the best system to go ahead and pick up. Last year, I think I gave it to the Xbox because, believe it or not, at the end of last year, Xbox seemed to be on some really big high, and they seemed like they could do no wrong. All they needed to do was make good games. But besides that, Xbox seemed to be doing good across the board. But earlier this year, they seemed to really shake a lot of things up by actually starting to release a lot of their games on their competitors' platform. And that's been a huge thing for them. A lot of people aren't a big fan of that, and it has made people question, why buy an Xbox? Well, on the flip side, Sony has had a slightly different approach. They are actually putting their games on the PC platform now, so they're not 100% exclusive like they were before. But for the most part, Sony has been doing a lot to build out their PlayStation ecosystem, where Microsoft is focusing on a different ecosystem, an ecosystem where everything is an Xbox, which personally, I don't really like that marketing too much. Watch my previous videos, I go into that, but everything is an Xbox, and I don't want to get it confused. I actually do like the concept that I can pick up pretty much most of my devices and play my games, pick up where I left off, and that's where Microsoft is really leaning into. If you're playing on, your television and without a console plugged in, like a smart TV or a Fire Stick or, a handheld or your computer, all that stuff carries over. And one of Microsoft's big marketing point is what you're watching this video on right now, in their mind, is an Xbox. So however you feel about that, that is the case. And Microsoft is going very strong into making everyone feel that. And in a lot of respects, that is great that Microsoft is making everything a system because it makes the price of entry a lot easier. Whereas on the PlayStation side, you're going to be spending quite a bit of money, and I'll explain. On the Xbox side, pretty much all you need to do is have a smart TV already, which yes, that can run you a few $100 to $1,000, but you probably already own that, so we're not going to count that in the cost, especially since PlayStation, to play their system, you need a television as well. To get into the Xbox, you really only need either the app, which is free, and the controller, or you're going to need the Fire Stick with a controller. On the PlayStation side, like I said, you're going to have to spend a few, $100 just to get into that gaming, whether it's with the PlayStation 5 console itself or even the new PlayStation 5 Portal that now can stream games to the device, which is in a recent update. Now, both options are going to require you to have something like Game Pass. So you're going to be spending money with Xbox's subscription service, their high tier, or you're going to be using PlayStation high tier subscription service. Either way, you're going to need a subscription service, but across the board, it will be cheaper on the Xbox versus the PlayStation. Now, here's the thing. Even though there are some similarities, these subscription services, in my opinion, are pretty different. Where a lot of people do flock to Game Pass because of the fact that you have the aspect of getting games day one, like even the newest Call of Duty for the first time in history came day one to a streaming service, and you didn't really have to pay any extra money. And on top of that, you pretty much can stream to any device. On the PlayStation side, now, for some reason, people treat the PlayStation catalog like it's like some second-rate citizen for some reason. I don't know why. The PlayStation Plus catalog is actually pretty good, and it's actually getting significantly better, when it comes to their older games and things like that. I know they just added the slide games. Not everyone's going to care about that, but, being a millennial like myself, I'm kind of excited, and I can't wait to actually play those this weekend. I'm going to jump into playing all the slide games. But regardless, you do have a list of games in there, and Sony is getting better with adding those games in. Now, you're not going to get a lot of day one games. Every now and then, Sony does throw you a bone and you have a day one game that goes right into the Game Pass subscription. They just had one, I think this month. I'm recording this in November. They just had a game this month. I think it was like Death Note was added in day one to their subscription service, but that's not really a norm, nor is it with any big budget games. On top of that, you're not going to be able to play this on pretty much any device if you just have their service. You're going to have to either have a PlayStation or now the PlayStation Portal. To some people, that could be a downside to it. To me, that's not really a big deal, but that is something that you have to kind of factor in. If you get an Xbox and you're on the Xbox side because of how they're marketing, you just have this wide range of games that can be played on pretty much any device. Where on the PlayStation, you're not going to have those brand new games that can be played on any device, but something that you do have on the PlayStation side is their exclusives. Sony, in my opinion, has some of the best exclusives. Now, with that being the case, there's some caveats there. One, Xbox has been getting out of exclusives, so let's just put that out there. Xbox is getting out of exclusives, and their games haven't been just drop dead awesome. Now, people love their games. I'm not taking anything away from their games. I've enjoyed a bunch of their games, but arguably, PlayStation still makes a stronger tier of games. Now, this last generation, or this current generation that we're in right now, I haven't really been vibing with all of PlayStation 5 games. A lot of them I've been having issues with, but for the vast majority, a lot of people do really like PlayStation 5 and their exclusive games, and that is something that you're going to have to consider if you're picking between the two. PlayStation does have a stronger lineup of games. On top of that, as we've seen over the past year or so, Microsoft has heavily been pushing into everyone's minds that moving forward, their games are going to be going over to PlayStation. So for example, Indiana Jones will be coming over to PlayStation. Now switching back over to the Xbox, you have the option of getting Indiana Jones for pretty much free with your subscription. You're paying the subscription and you're getting it with your subscriptions. You're not paying anything extra to get it. It is free with your paid subscription. So I just want to make sure that's abundantly clear. Where on the PlayStation side, you're spending that $70 minimum until the game goes on sale or something like that. Now, I will say right now, if you are a fan of subscriptions versus, owning your games, depending on which way you go, that is a huge thing when it comes to these two ecosystems, in my opinion. Xbox, where it shines is in a subscription base, and I feel like they know that is Xbox's whole model. Their whole thing right now is Game Pass. Xbox has been becoming less of a physical thing this year and more of a subscription service more than anything else. Where on the PlayStation side, they've been dropping a lot of hardware, a lot of stuff they make on their own. Like I said, they have the regular PlayStation, they have the PlayStation Slim, they have the PlayStation 5 Pro, which for the most part, they all, fundamentally are the same for sure. But then on top of that, you have the PlayStation VR, which got a lot better because now you can use it with Steam, which is a huge plus in my opinion. And then on top of that, you have the PlayStation Portable. Now, we know that both companies are working on their own portable devices right now, but you do have like these cloud-based services that you can utilize them on for right now, where PlayStation has their own built-in device. You also have third-party options with PlayStation as well, but I will say it seems like Microsoft has significantly more third-party options than PlayStation does. Now, at the end of the day, what does this all matter for you guys as a consumer? Which one is the one that you're gonna buy? Like I've been really saying throughout this video, even though we're at the point now where pretty much you don't really own most of your games. Yes, I know there's some exception with some physical games with the disc that the data is all on the game. There is some exceptions for that, but when it comes to a lot of games moving forward, especially going into the future, especially if you own a PlayStation 5 Pro, you're not going to be playing any of those games physically unless you then go out and spend more money to get the actual disc drive as well. But we can see that a lot of these companies are moving forward to having a lot of things digital, and you're not going to own your games. A lot of stuff is going to be digital. Now, with that all being the case, if you're more comfortable with, owning your games and that's the way you want to actually go, then the PlayStation may be the better option, because when it comes to that, the PlayStation does seem, in my opinion, to be the better place to own a lot of your games. On the Xbox side, a lot of digital content is where it's at. When you really think about Xbox, and majority of what their whole marketing campaign is around digital things. A lot of their marketing, and this is an Xbox, and now recently you have the option to games that you own digitally, you can actually stream to any device now. Before it was like, if it was a game that was on Game Pass, you could stream to all your devices. But like I said, Microsoft just came out with, if you own a game digitally, like for me, I own Space Marines, I can now play that across the cloud on any device. If I bought the game physically for my Xbox or physically for my PlayStation, I wouldn't even have options for that. So a lot of Microsoft features are heavily marketed towards if you want to stream or use cloud or digital infrastructure, where PlayStation, there's not a huge big difference between if you use it or not. I feel like that's going to change with the PlayStation Portable getting more of these. Is it portable or portal? I don't know. I've been saying it wrong probably this whole time, but with that device, you're going to get more options, I feel like, in the future. But as of right now, like I said, those things aren't there as of yet. These companies are two totally different companies than they've ever been before. To really bring the point home, like I said, on the Xbox side, they're focusing heavy on Game Pass. This is more of a Game Pass company than anything else, and that is where they're trying to go. Game Pass, cloud, all of that stuff. The PlayStation is that really good exclusive Xbox, as of right now, does have some level exclusives, like Stalker 2 just came out this past week or so, and I've been personally loving it. I've enjoying it. I'm having so much fun. I wish I had more time to play. I just haven't had time like I want to actually put into it, but I've been having fun with it already. But Stalker 2 came out, but I promise you within the next year or so, it's probably going to be on PlayStation. Like, I feel like that's a timed exclusive. I don't remember if that is or not, but I feel like it is. Where PlayStation has been getting a lot of games this year. Not only are they getting a lot of games already, they're getting games that Xbox hasn't been getting. For one reason or another, is getting pushed off. Last year, it was Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate 3. This year is another game that's been nominated for Game of the Year, Black Myth. These big, huge games Xbox keeps missing out on, or it's being delayed. Obviously, we only have to wait a few months for Baldur's Gate 3. Hopefully that's the case with Black Myth, but there's just these games that have been skipping. We've been hearing time and time again that a lot of games are skipping over Xbox and going to PlayStation. A lot of them have been Japanese based from what I've been noticing, but the fact is they're still skipping, and I don't know why that's the case. And when it comes to online, real quick, I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, if you ask like someone, hey, what system you should buy, they always say, go for the one that your friends are on. Nowadays, with crossplay and Discord, things like that don't really seem to matter that much anymore. So I would have focused a lot on that. It's really, what type of experience do you want out of this? Because in reality, a lot of games that I play on my Xbox or my PlayStation, I haven't had any problems with any of my friends playing on other games, on other platforms for the most part. You know, when you're looking, PlayStation Plus is fire. It has a lot of games that I think has more games than Xbox Game Pass does in reality. That ability to bring your games over from device to device is so much better on the Xbox side. For example, I was playing Alien Dark Descent on my Xbox. I wanted to play it on my PC because it felt more like a PC game, but I didn't want to go out and buy the PC version. Well, come to find out, they added it to Game Pass, and now I can play the PC version and still get my Xbox achievements. So that is a plus on the Xbox side. You probably won't see that coming to PlayStation anytime soon, at least. Like, for example, same scenario, but with Helldivers, I bought it on PlayStation. I wanted to switch to play it on PC, get that ultra widescreen support, but I wasn't able to do that because even with logging in, there's no data that gets sent over like Xbox does. So I hope you guys are noticing a trend here. It's really what works best for you in that aspect. Now, as far as what's the best platform that I personally think that you guys should get, well, hands down, without any regret, I have to personally say, especially after this year, I have to give it to the PC. The PC is the one system that you want to get over anyone else. You want to get that because it can do everything that I just named off that these other systems can do and just 1,000 times better. On top of the fact you can add mods, the games are cheaper, you don't have to pay for online subscriptions or anything. That is the route to go in my opinion. Get a PC if you have the money to do so. Now, in the event that you don't have the money to get a PC, let's say for example you can't get it and you're picking between these two systems, again, it's going to boil down to those two things. Either you're going to want to be able to play your games everywhere on everything and you don't really care a lot about exclusives. Maybe you're just a multi-platform fan or whatever. Exclusives don't really matter to you. Then go ahead and get that Xbox. But if you want that super strong, like branded ecosystem, you bought a product and you know what you're getting with that product. So I feel like Xbox's brand, I get it's there, it just feels like it's been washed down a little bit because it's all over the place. But PlayStation, it's like they make their own hardware, they make their own games, they have this particular, I mean, I know Xbox makes their own games too, but they have a particular experience and an expectation quality. Like even when it comes to the fact that, why does every PlayStation game look so ridiculously good? Now, I feel like sometimes they put too much money into their graphics and other things start to fail, but for the most part, the games look phenomenal. You want to go that route if you want that super hardcore, slightly fanboy, but you want that wall garden that PlayStation gives you. And that's my thoughts on this. Comment down below what you guys feel or think about this. What are you going ahead and pick up? Are you going to get the Xbox, getting a PlayStation for this season, or PC? Probably better. Comment that all down below. I'm very interested in what you guys are thinking and how you guys feel on this. But anyways, thanks so much for sticking around for this video. Like I said, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.